knew that all the men were dead in at least New York City, and I knew I would die soon, too. Where were you when it happened? Brooklyn was a fucking ghost town. The only locals left were the corpse of guys who didn't have any family around to retrieve them. Just the end of the world, that's all.
If you were curious, and fanboy Will, actually Ryan already spoke with.
Rambling.
Yeah. Say hi, Will.
Hi.
And then we're talking to Ryan. How are you, Ryan?
Hello, I'm doing great.
And then we're also talking to his actor there, and we'll get into the actor of what in a moment. Hey, say hi, James.
Hey, how you doing?
We're talking with Ryan O'Leary, and he's a writer-director of a fan film, Why the Last Man. And we're also talking to his actor, Mr. James. Is it Kuck?
Kuck, yes.
Okay, very good. Why don't you first give a quick bio on each of you there? Why don't you kind of give us your background in film, acting, and whatnot? We'll start with Ryan, and then we'll move to James.
Well, I started with film just a few years ago, and I go to a film school called 510 College in Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
And,
yeah.
Long Island.
Who's, represent, school's kind of horrible now. It used to be great. But there I've made a bunch of short films, primarily in comedy. I also was a writer on a feature film called Almost Amateur, starring Ron Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
And
nice.
My last film was called Bloody Mess. It's a short film, a comedy that's currently playing a bunch of festivals. It's played at the Long Island International Film Expo in like a week. So
cool.
That's me.
Mr. Kuck.
I'll take that.
Give us a little bit about your background there, James.
I started acting, I would say, about 4 or 5 years ago, just, getting my feet wet with it. And from there, doing, short background work and a little print work also. And then it really took me to know what I want to do and how far I want to go with it. So I really started studying hard and getting really into my craft and working with some good people in the industry, sensory coaches and meditation coaches, some on-film camera coaches, and getting a lot of stuff on camera, and just getting used to the process, and then just filming a lot of college shorts, music videos, and, in and out, stuff like that. Being on the sets of, I was on the set of Law and Order,
oh, nice. Yep.
Royal Pains, and a couple of other TV network stuff.
Speaking of Royal Pains, they're actually filming in my town right now in Long Island out here. They're filming in Oyster Bay right now.
Yeah, they film a lot of stuff on Long Island. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the Hamptons.
I filmed with them. Yeah, a lot of Hampton stuff. When I filmed with them, we were actually in Freeport, Long Island. But yeah, my main focus is like in-depth characters and taking on a lot of independent film like roles. And good breakdowns and storylines. That's why when Ryan came, I actually emailed Ryan. I met him at a Film Connection, and I let him know, just reaching out. If you have any auditions, let me know. And that's when he sent me this breakdown for Yorick Brown.
Cool. Were you aware of the comic book before he got in touch with you, or?
That comic book, no, I was not aware of. I've heard and I flipped through some other comics, but no, I was not aware of that at all.
Right. Well, I heard it said somewhere it's one of those books where even if you don't read comics, you still like it. Like Watchmen and Preacher, books like that,
It's a really big kind of, it's a story on an epic scale as far as his journey, but it's the human characters are just so pure and just, they're people. It's not some bullshit. Like the whole book's kind of like in a way it's a character study with science. Like I look at it as a character study with heavy sci-fi and, action themes to go along with it.
Can you give me a little, I have no idea who Why the Last Man is. What's his origins? Where did it come from? Vertigo, do I believe? Was this the first printing through DC?
Vertigo Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written by It was created by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra. Brian K. Vaughan's done some work on, I think, like X-Men. He also created a great series called Ex Machina, which is awesome.
Okay.
And he also did some writing for Lost as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
That I did not know about Lost.
To the trailer that I watched, it's kind of like an apocalyptic thing.
Yeah, it's a little post-apocalyptic, except, it's only the men that are killed off. In the comic, women kind of get by pretty fine, but there's all sorts of groups of just women that just go batshit crazy called the Amazons. And so it's like there are certain post-apocalyptic elements that, especially in the trailer, that we built up upon, and because, like, when doing, I think, like, the comic doesn't focus on that nearly as much as our little adaptation does, because it's easier for our sake on the budget we're working with to really focus on there only being, so many, focusing on really is like isolation for budgetary reasons just made more sense.
But that sounds good, being the last man on Earth and just tons and tons of women around. Sounds good. Not crazy Amazon women, but,
Is beer still alive when the apocalypse comes there?
Yeah, there's, like, the only thing that's affected are the males. So it's like...
I'm just being stupid. I know.
Yeah. What did you say? I didn't even get it.
I said beer. B-E-R.
Is beer still alive? I gotcha. Whatever, Will.
Yeah.
Well, there's one male alive, so there got to be beer.
Right, exactly.
You gotta have
beer and porn.
That's right, and a monkey.
Yeah,
and a monkey.
Beef jerky.
And a monkey. Except in our adaptation where we can't afford a monkey, but in the comics, the monkey Ampersand is essential.
Why the last man? Why the last man, Ryan? I can't even say it. Why the last man for the subject of your fan film, as opposed to any other comic property?
Well, it's definitely like my favorite comic that I've ever read. When I was in high school, I worked at this pharmacy, and one of the things I could do while I was working, since it wasn't that busy, was read. And since there'd be customers interrupted, I found comics and just like that kind of sequential artwork was very easy to kind of break from for a few seconds and get back into, whereas like a book, if you're like in the middle of the page, it kind of sucks. So I ended up getting really drawn to comics through then, and why always stuck with me as something that I thought could work as some sort of film or TV adaptation. And then eventually at Five Towns, there's a comics to film class, and I knew I wanted to take that class at some point, that we'd get to do an adaptation of our own. And why really stuck out to me, because it has like humor and like the drama within it, what I think I've handled in my previous films. So I thought this would be an interesting bridge, and it would be like a test of at least my abilities as a filmmaker. It's a much bigger story than anything else I've tried to do. So it was a challenge, and it was something that I thought I could probably handle decently. Whereas, like, I never really felt that way reading any other comic ever. Just like, yeah, there's action. I feel like, there's no way I could do that. But this really fits my sensibilities, so.
Okay, and Dan, help me out here, Will. Guerriero teaches that class? We actually spoke with him a couple years ago. Dan, what's his name, Ryan?
Yes, he does. Ghilardi?
That's it. Yeah. He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, we had a good time talking with him.
Class is a lot of fun. There are only 8 people in it, all guys. Geez. And, you'd fight over stuff like Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a whole class.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
And you actually get credits.
Exactly.
Just to geek out. That's cool. That's the way college should be.
Yeah, that trailer was my final project for the class. So.
Okay. So let's get James into this. James, how did you hook up with Ryan to be Why the Last Man?
Well, I reached out to him after I met him at a Film Connection, and I seen actually one of his trailers for his other short film, A Bloody Mess.
Right.
And I really liked his work, and I knew he could bring some. I knew his work would definitely be a good representation of my work if I could take my stuff and get it, in his hands on camera. So from there, I just reached out. I gave an email out to him and just said, if you ever have anything coming up, I'd like to do a read for you. And from there, he said, I'm actually working on a new project. It's called Why the Last Man, and we'll have an audition, so I'll keep you up to date. And right away, I I started doing some preparation work with, I would go on and just, on Google, I looked up, and I think it was through a fanboy site where they, did a little breakdown of the character of Yorick, and I could learn his, sensibility and how vulnerable the character was, and basically get a little bit more insight of the character. So when I do have a reading, at least, I know where it's coming from.
Right.
And then he sent me over the side, and we just connected from there. I came into an audition, I read, and then from there he just, said, yeah, we're going to go with you.
Nice.
From there, then he gave me the comics, and I really did a lot of preparation work and read through the comics to really get an insight of the character.
You got a big body of your work there to read up on.
Yeah.
Now, was this an ongoing series? Was it a mini-series? Is it still going on?
It was an ongoing series. It was 60 issues.
Okay.
Collected in 10 trade paperbacks, which is how I read them. I read them through there, and it was a lot of story to cover. So with the film, there's considerable amounts of things that are cut out. But I like to think what we have in there is pretty direct from the comics. There's a lot of scenes that are directly from the comic.
Okay.
Not really altered much at all. Because it's just that's one thing that I think Brian K. Vaughan always had right with his writing was he really got down with the way people talk, and he really kind of developed a really interesting, vulnerable main character for his story. So yeah.
So you got the
like a Guido or something. That would have been bad news, I think, for everybody. Yeah. The Jersey Shore last man.
Yeah, we had some pretty interesting people come in and audition that just weren't right for the part, and when James came in, it was just like a breath of fresh air. I had a feeling when he was coming in that I knew that he took his stuff more seriously because he was actively going to these film connection meeting things to meet, filmmakers and everything. So when he came in, he really blew us away and was the perfect guy for the part. Except he might be too good looking. That's the one criticism I think we're getting from the fans.
You got to ugly yourself up there, James.
Yeah, exactly.
I could take on many roles and get into character, but my looks I could only adjust so much.
Well, look at Johnny Depp, man. I mean, he's in some movies. He's not looking so keen. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Can I call Johnny Depp a good-looking guy? Is that okay, Will?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What questions you got, Will? Let's change the subject.
Have you actually tried either sending it or showing it to Brian K. Vaughan or Vertigo or anybody?
I'm going to right now because the actual movie is going to be about a half an hour long, and we just started editing this last month. I had to take a month off to work on the feature, but yeah, we just started really editing the movie this month. So we're going to wait till we finish it because we don't really.
That makes sense.
So we're going to send them. Yeah, get the whole thing done before there's anything discouraging or any cease and desist orders from.
Hey, get it out there first before they tell you to pull it, and then it'll be out there.
Exactly.
On the street corner trying to get it out there.
Remember the Zelda movie that came out? It came out 4 or 5 months ago. Anyways, it was a fan film, and the people that owned the license told them to pull it, but it was already out there. I have it on my hard drive, so it was too late. Get it out there, and it will always be out there.
Yeah, and I've also tried with the trailer and everything on YouTube just to make it abundantly clear that we in no way own the rights,
right.
Claim to have created the material or anything. It's really just kind of done out of a love for the series and the characters.
Absolutely. Yeah, most companies get it. It took some companies to come around a bit, like Marvel Comics, and you can somewhat DC, but, well, Vertigo, that's DC, so I don't think you're going to have a problem. I
think this is a little paranoia and, misunderstanding and kind of, almost ignorance towards fan films. People are thinking, you're going to make these movies and you're going to go out and send thousands of them to people and sell them for $20 a piece, and that's not going to happen. People don't know that, though, until they really get into the whole the fan film community and who we are, what we stand for, what we do, what we don't do. I think it's just a lot of ignorance. They don't know really. So,
exactly.
People like, Chris and myself, we have our sites to let people know that these great things are out there, but no one's making money from it. They're just doing it for the love of the material. And DC, Marvel, all these guys have got to respect that because, it's love for their creations, their properties. So we're just furthering interest by showing fan films. We're saying, if you've never, read Why the Last Man and you saw my fan film, you'll probably, pick up the trades.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So companies got to think about that. Whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever the hell it is. They got to think about that and go, what, it would actually be a good tool for us.
And I know with everyone who's worked on the movie, like my crew and a lot of the actors hadn't been familiar with the comic until this film. And, the one thing I really try to get through them is that they got to pick up the series and read it. And I know many of them have since then. People that normally wouldn't read comics are now kind of getting into Brian K. Vaughan, which means they could get into, other stuff. So, I think no harm comes from fan films.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know anything about the character. So if I see your fan film, I might go out and pick up a trade or two.
Yeah, the comic's better. The fan film can only go so far. It's not a good masterpiece.
Yeah.
So where did you guys shoot the movie primarily? Were you in Brooklyn at all? Let's have some Brooklyn in the background.
Yeah, there was some Brooklyn.
Okay.
We did, there were 2 scenes that we shot in Brooklyn. We shot a little bit. We shot this montage in New Jersey, and then pretty much everything else was done out in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
We did some interiors in East Rockaway for a flashback, and we shot at our school studio for Yorick's apartment.
Right.
So, we were really kind of all over Long Island for most of the scenes. So we did a very little bit on a rooftop in Williamsburg, and then also in another part of Brooklyn for the first scene of the movie.
Cool.
Lots of great free locations. So
that's the thing. You got to take those good locations when you can get them, because you get these people like, "What are you doing up there? Why are you wearing a funny thing on your head?" Why are you with a movie camera? Why are you filming my store? You gotta go there like a ninja. Do your job and get out.
It's actually pretty interesting. We shot this film on the Canon 7D, which is a digital SLR, which is a photography camera. Mm-hmm. So when we were shooting a lot of our exteriors, a lot of people didn't even know that we were shooting a movie, especially with the daylight, because it just looks like you're taking pictures.
Right.
So we only got a permit for 1 out of the shitload of locations that we had. So.
Okay.
And that was because there's, at one point in the first scene, there's a cop pointing a gun to her head. And that was outside in Brooklyn, so we went through the mayor's office for that, and even then, they still only had 1 cop there, and people were pulling over thinking that, something was actually going on. So that was the only time, though, where I think people really noticed that we were shooting the movie, and also, when we were shooting this montage, the cops also shut us down. We were shooting outside of an abandoned snuff factory in New Jersey, so that was kind of fun.
Well, I was just curious, will the film be as, I guess, for lack of a better term, graphic as the book, whereas there's nudity, there's a lot of language, there's adult situations, all that kind of stuff. Will it be more like everyone friendly, or will it be more raw like the book?
It's pretty raw. There's no nudity. There's a lot of almost nudity. There's a lot of that, but I don't think any nipples slipped in during one of the sex scenes. So
okay.
But it's pretty
big booty hose, or
although James kept wanting to get naked, but we didn't put that in there.
Every excuse you can use.
There's actually 2 scenes where James has relations with. There's one with one woman, another with another that we shot. We shot them the same day, and it was the first day I worked on the movie. So
he's a marathon man. 2 in one day.
Good.
Yep, 2 in one day. We got to know him. Got to see all different sides of him.
Hey James.
Curious
question: how do you when you're doing these type scenes with very attractive women, what's going through your brain, man? Are you holding back? Are you saying, what the hell? I'm going to enjoy the whole.
You know what? Honestly, I really stick to my character. To be honest with you, and to really make it, you're really stuck in the moment. Especially something like this. My character was such a vulnerable, emotional type of character. You got to realize you're the last man on earth. So, yeah, it's great for the viewers, but in this guy's brain, I'm trapped. I'm trying to get to Beth, which is my girlfriend that I'm in love with, and yeah, I'm in bed with this other woman, but at the same time, through my brain, I'm just sticking. I'm making it as believable as I can, and really just sticking to the storyline and in my character. So that's really what's just going through my brain. Nothing too crazy.
Okay, a true professional.
Yes. Do you have any plans to maybe in any other films or take on any other kind of fan film-like projects in the future?
As of now, I know I don't personally have it. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I usually write my own stuff. So I'm kind of focusing on that. There's a feature that I wrote last year that I've been kind of somewhat focusing on. So,
Okay.
but I wouldn't be opposed to it if I found another comic that hit me the same way as Y. Anything like that. Yeah.
It's an impressive body of work for sure.
And you're going to get a lot of exposure with it because it's an established character.
That's what's been great already.
It's funny because it's kind of like a no flights, no tights situation, like Smallville, with the early seasons. It's no like special effects or anything. Nobody flying, nobody shooting anything out of their eyes or anything like that. It's just people in this very very believable environment. That's it's almost like a hell on earth kind of, but not. And they're just normal people. There's nothing crazy about them. They're not like super people or.
Yeah, that's that is what's so great about this story too, and I think what went so well is it's just so believable. With love, tragedy, the drama, and even a little bit of natural comedy, a little bit. Right. It's just so organic that people when you watch it, it really. I feel it's going to be, real and believable. So
it's life. Life's happy. Life's sad. Life's good. Life's bad. It's all these things. So that book really has all the elements of being human and being real. Brian K. Vaughan's like an amazing writer. I mean, his stuff is just crazy. I put him up there with Alan Moore, honestly. I mean, and he's great.
Wow.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Like Ex Machina, like you mentioned earlier, that's an amazing piece of work, and that would make a great movie. If it was put in the right hands and not screwed up, that would make a really good movie.
All right. Well, you want to wrap it up? We'll just see what is in the future here for Ryan and James and what they got planned. And
I say we go for it.
They can plug their stuff.
By the way, guys.
Let's start with James. Man. I feel like he's left out. He hasn't said much. What do you got in the future? What are you looking for there, James? What do you got planned for the future, and what are your ambitions and your eventual goals there?
My goals are just to keep filming. This is what I love doing and taking on, different characters. So I'm going to keep auditioning. I recently just came back from a vacation from Florida, so now I'm just back on the grind. I'm just going to continue auditioning. This December, I'll probably going out to California. I have a couple connections over there, so I'm going to audition over there too. And I'm just going to keep things moving, try to work on as many independent films as I can that really, catch my eye.
All right. Okay. Well, good luck to you. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there, but you sound like a really focused young gentleman, if I can say that. So, good things to you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
And Ryan, why don't you tell us what's coming up with you and plug your site, plug the film.
Oh yes, yeah. You can find the film on Facebook right now. It's Wide Last Man, and then clearly labeled in parentheses nonprofit fan film. You can find that on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter.com/thebloodymess. I try to make jokes sometimes. They don't really work. And I'm currently just working on some shorts that I would like to shoot at my last year at 5 Times College. So.
All right, well, plug your stuff.
Thank you guys for having us.
Absolutely, no, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. Sorry about
Everyone have a good 4th of July.
You do the same.
All
right, gentlemen.
Bye,
What's the official date it's coming out?
We don't have a date yet.
Okay.
It should be the end of August.
Okay.
The end of August is when I think we'll have it ready. We're probably going to release a teaser poster in the next week.
Okay.
So
very cool.
You can look out for that, and then I think by the end of July we'll have a set date and probably another trailer.
Okay, sounds good.
Looking forward to it, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Guys.
Good job so far, my friend.
Yes, it looks awesome.